Ever pondered why love, one of the most profound emotions, sometimes fades away? It's a question that stirs the mind and tugs at the heart. Love, in all its glory, is a complex, multifaceted journey that evolves, changes, and yes, sometimes fades. It's a delicate dance of emotions that no one truly masters. How do people fall out of this dance? What makes the music stop? Join us as we unravel the reasons why people fall out of love. The first reason we're exploring is emotional neglect. It's something that creeps in subtly, often unnoticed until it's too late. Emotional neglect is the silent killer of relationships, and it's one of the primary ways individuals fall out of love. You see, we all yearn for emotional connection. We crave to be seen, to be understood, to be valued. When these needs are not met, when we feel unheard or unimportant, that's when the decay starts. Emotional neglect is when one partner consistently fails to notice, attend to, and respond in a timely manner to the other partner's feelings. It's when you sit across the table from someone, but they might as well be 1,000 miles away. This neglect can manifest in many ways. Maybe it's a dismissive remark, a distracted nod, or an indifferent shrug. It's the silence that answers your shared thoughts, the absence of warmth when you need it the most. Each instance might seem insignificant, but over time they accumulate, forming a wall that disconnects partners emotionally. Love, in its true essence, is about emotional intimacy. It's about sharing vulnerabilities, dreams, fears, and joys. But when emotional neglect sets in, this intimacy erodes. The relationship feels more like a transaction, void of the warmth and understanding that once was. But it's not just about the neglected. The neglector, too, loses out. They miss the opportunity to connect on a deeper level, to truly know their partner, to grow together through shared emotional experiences. They too fall out of love, often without realizing why. Now, emotional neglect doesn't mean that the person doesn't care. Sometimes they simply lack the emotional skills to connect on a deeper level, or they're dealing with their own unmet emotional needs. It's not always intentional, but the impact is very real. When emotional needs are neglected, love can indeed lose its shine. It's like a garden left unattended, where once vibrant flowers wither away. Love, too, needs nurturing. It needs attention, understanding, and most of all, it needs emotional connection. Without these, even the strongest of loves can fade away, leaving behind a hollow shell of what once was a thriving relationship. Moving on to the second reason, changing priorities. As we journey through life, our priorities naturally evolve. This is part of growth and self-discovery. We might become passionate about a new hobby, embark on a career change, or even find a renewed sense of purpose. These changes in priorities are not inherently negative. They are part of the fluidity of life that keeps us moving forward. However, when these changes occur within a relationship, it can sometimes lead to a divergence of paths. Picture two trees planted close together. As they grow, their branches might reach out in different directions, seeking the sun in their own unique ways. In much the same way, individuals within a relationship can grow apart as their priorities change. One partner might become engrossed in their career while the other finds fulfillment in nurturing a family. Or perhaps one person develops a passion for travel, while the other prefers the comfort of home. These diverging paths are not wrong or right, they're simply different. But the challenge arises when these differences aren't acknowledged or discussed. A relationship requires mutual understanding, compromise, and sometimes sacrifice. It thrives on common goals, shared experiences, and the ability to adapt to each other's changing needs and desires. When these aspects are missing, the relationship might start to feel like a tug of war, with each person pulling in their own direction. This can strain the bond of love and lead to feelings of disconnect, frustration, and ultimately, falling out of love. This isn't to say that every change in priority will lead to a breakup. No, quite the contrary. Relationships can and do survive changes in priorities. It's about how these changes are navigated. It's about the decisions made, the conversations had, and the understanding fostered. So remember this: change is inevitable, but how we respond to it, especially within a relationship, can make all the difference. When priorities shift, the relationship dynamics can alter, leading to love fading away. The third reason is communication breakdown. Communication, as they say, is the lifeblood of any relationship. It's the bridge that connects two individuals, allowing them to share their thoughts, experiences, and emotions. When this bridge is strong, love flourishes. But when it weakens, that's when problems begin to arise. Think of communication as a two-way street. It's not just about expressing what you feel, but also about understanding what the other person is saying, and sometimes, what they're not saying. It's about being open and honest, but also about being receptive and empathetic. When this balance is lost, misunderstandings can creep in, creating a gap that widens with time. This breakdown in communication can manifest in various ways. It could be about not talking enough, or not talking about the right things. It might be about not being able to express feelings effectively, or not being able to listen actively. Sometimes it's about saying too much but conveying too little. And then there are the silent killers, the unspoken words and the unresolved issues. They lurk in the shadows of a relationship, creating an invisible wall that slowly pushes people apart. They might not be visible, but their impact is profound. So why is communication so important? Well, it's because it's the foundation of understanding. It's through communication that we get to know our partner, their hopes, their fears, their dreams, and their flaws. It's through communication that we build trust, resolve conflicts, and nurture intimacy. But when communication breaks down, all these aspects are affected. Misunderstandings lead to conflicts, lack of clarity leads to trust issues, and when we can't express our love or understand our partner's expressions of love, the emotional connection begins to weaken. That's why it's essential to keep the channels of communication open. It's about making an effort to understand and to be understood. It's about being patient, being kind, and being present. It's about learning to express love, not just through words, but also through actions and gestures. When communication crumbles, love often follows suit. So let's make an effort to keep the conversation going, for love to continue flowing. The fourth reason we're looking at is unresolved conflicts. A part of every relationship, conflicts are inevitable. They arise out of differences in perspectives, preferences, and expectations. But it's not the presence of conflicts that's problematic. It's when they remain unresolved that they can become destructive. Think of it as a small stone in your shoe. At first, it's just a minor inconvenience. You can walk, albeit uncomfortably, but as you continue, the discomfort turns into pain. If left unattended, this pain can become unbearable, affecting your ability to walk or even stand. Similarly, unresolved conflicts in a relationship can start as minor disagreements, but if left unchecked, they can grow into significant issues that hinder the growth of love. Conflicts need to be addressed, and resolution sought, not just for the sake of peace, but for the sake of love itself. Leaving a conflict unresolved can lead to resentment. This resentment can silently seep into the corners of a relationship, gradually creating a divide between partners. It's like a silent poison, slowly deteriorating the bond of love. But how do we resolve conflicts? It starts with a willingness to understand the other person's perspective and to find common ground. It requires effective communication, patience, and sometimes compromise. It's about recognizing that the relationship is more important than winning an argument. Remember, every conflict presents an opportunity for growth, for deepening understanding, and for strengthening love. It's a chance to learn more about your partner and about yourself. When conflicts are resolved effectively, they can actually bring you closer, fostering a deeper emotional connection and enhancing mutual respect. So, don't shy away from conflicts. Instead, approach them with an open mind and a loving heart. Resolve them with the intention of growing together, of nurturing love, rather than letting them fester and damage your relationship. Unresolved conflicts can indeed sow the seeds of resentment, causing love to wither. The final reason we're discussing is loss of intimacy. Intimacy, both emotional and physical, is a cornerstone of many romantic relationships. It's the invisible thread that weaves two people together, creating a bond that transcends the mundane. It's that shared smile across a crowded room, the silent understanding of each other's thoughts, and the comfort of a warm embrace. When intimacy thrives, love blossoms. However, intimacy can fade. Life's pressures can push it aside. Emotional intimacy can dwindle when partners stop sharing their feelings, dreams, or fears. Physical intimacy can wane due to stress, health issues, or simply the passage of time. In some cases, intimacy fades not because of what's happening within the relationship but what's happening outside of it. The loss of intimacy doesn't mean the end of love, but it can certainly strain it. Love without intimacy can feel hollow, like a house without warmth. It's like constantly reaching out, only to grasp at air. Intimacy is like a garden. It needs nurturing and care. It requires patience and understanding. It demands respect and honesty. And when tended to, it yields a bounty of love that can withstand the harshest storms. So remember, the loss of intimacy can weaken the bond of love. But with effort, understanding, and time, intimacy can be restored, and love can bloom again. When intimacy fades, the bond of love can weaken. Understanding why people fall out of love is a journey of self-discovery and learning. We've explored emotional neglect, changing priorities, communication breakdown, unresolved conflicts, and loss of intimacy. These insights aren't about casting blame, they're about gaining perspective. Reflect on your experiences, empathize with your emotions, and prioritize your well-being. Remember, understanding is the first step towards healing. Thank you for joining us on this journey today.